3, 2, 1.
And it's live.
This is Leicester Till I Die TV. Watch and subscribe on YouTube and listen on your podcast platform.
Hello, good afternoon, good evening, good day, good night, wherever you are in the world. That probably applies to you one way or another. How are we doing? I'm back again. Brady's back. Tell some friends. Yes, that is the song. You probably know that very well. It is the preview show, from predictions to previewing. And to be fair to our guest tonight, a bit like being in the UK with his travels everywhere, he'd probably rather be anywhere but here talking about his football club. But we're Leicester fans, so we feel his pain because, well, let's face it, we're the same. We're both trying to be doctors, giving away cures. He says we're going to win. We're saying it's Dr. Leicester, you'll get 3 points. I'm going to bring our lovely guest Mark in a second. But how are we all? I mean, apart from football-wise, because we all know the answer's the same if it's football-wise, how are we all in general? Good evening to Craig. He's just come in and said good evening all in the chat. Get chatting amongst yourselves in the comment section, and if you want to throw out any little cheeky remarks throughout the show, you can do. Without further ado, it is the Late Show. You are live on LTID TV on all platforms. Please do not say fuck or bugger. Fuck, bugger, I said that. Shouldn't say that. I'm going to bring him in as our guest. He's actually in the UK this time, so he's A-OK to be on the show. It is Mark, the Oxford fan. Mark, how the devil are you, buddy?
I'm okay.
Oh, that's exactly the feeling. Okay.
Let's see how tonight goes, and let's see, more importantly, how Saturday goes.
Yeah. I mean, I know I kind of dug my own grave earlier, and I'm still going to keep digging with the JCB, but it's not been a great season for either of us, has it, so far? I know a lot of people, sadly, probably got Oxford in and around that relegation zone when they did their pre-season predictions, because everybody thinks they know the league inside and out. But you said backstage there, even you're disappointed with it. I mean, it's not a million miles away, but it's not been great, has it?
We know that we would be a struggler, but last season we enjoyed the last game of the season because we were already safe. And we signed well. We brought in some good players, and I felt that might be enough to get us a place or two higher than we were last season. At the moment, it doesn't look like that, but we have just gone through a monumental change in Rowett leaving, Bloomfield coming in. We brought in 5 more players. He's already played 4 of them. And the 5th was introduced to us in the week and is potentially rumoured to be involved on Saturday. So there's hope. There's hope because there's half a season to go. But the problem is there's a gap between us and safety now, that even a win on Saturday, dare I say, is not going to put us out of the bottom 3.
Yeah.
So we've got a big mountain to climb.
Yeah, and of course, there's no better place when you're down in the dumps, they say, is to go and see your doctor and give you some medication to make you all feel better. And if I was to wear a white jacket, I would give you a prescription to pick up a healthy 3 points on Saturday, because sadly, that is the feeling around Leicester. I mean, in recent weeks, you could have called the police on Leicester because we robbed Wrexham of what would have been a well-earned 3 points on Tuesday night, and we completely robbed West Brom in the same aspect. A few on Friday night a few weeks ago, when we not only got a goal back to get us a point, we ended up nicking a late winner in injury time. Having said that, can I ask you a question on a serious note, Mark? What's it like signing players?
All right. Well, then, from that point of view, we can't be too ungrateful. Yeah? Like there are always questions of the board, aren't there? And Chris and I, we go back a while, and he knows me because I was actually on the board of directors of my local football club, Poole Town. And I was with Poole for some 8 years. We were in the Conference South. That's as high as we got in the time that I was there. And when you're on that side of the fence, it's very different when you're just a fan, because you know the ins and outs. You know what the club can and can't do financially. You know when a player's injured and perhaps he's off form, but you're having to play him anyway. Or there's something psychologically going on. The fans don't know that. So I've seen it from the other side. We've got a board of directors now who, by all accounts, are very wealthy. They're from Asia, some similarities there. Our owners are based in Indonesia. The main owner has been involved with AC Milan. He has a good pedigree. They're promising to build us a new ground, which will be £100 million plus potentially. And they brought in 5 new players in this transfer window. We seem to be picking up players from Premier League clubs, not necessarily with a lot of first team experience, but that's why they're coming to us from the Premier League clubs to see if they can get that experience and then fit back into their system. Players from Spurs, players from Brentford, and the 5th player that we signed has come from Korea, from the Korean top league, scored 20 goals. They were champions. Their league finished in December. He's come across to us. They're saying we might take a little time to be ready. But Bloomfield's interview after the game on Tuesday night, he said he might figure on Saturday. So to me, that sounds like he might be on the bench and they might throw him on.
Well, I mean, that from an Oxford perspective, that's lovely news. Like you said, given the situation, it seems with your ownership, at least, they've got the right drive and mentality to at least give you and your new manager a chance to pull off the survival heist now going into the second half of the season, which is obviously still a long way to go. We've only just started to turn the fixture list on to the second page, if you will. You kind of just spoke there. It sounded exactly like our owners when they first arrived. Obviously, we did have to step into League One and then come back up and do things for a longer programme. But, it does sound like a positive reading from the ownership. And obviously, your 6th signing, the one good thing is, like you said, is their season ended only a few weeks ago. So it's not like maybe an MLS signing or another continent where their season ends a few months before and he's not played for 3 or 4 months and then they're playing, he's coming. Obviously, the transition from coming to playing career to this level of football, which is no disrespect to the Korean League, but there's always that case, whether it's to England or from England to even like Italy or Spain, there's a transition in the style of play, the tempo of the game, etc. So the fact that your manager seems very happy with what he's seen to at least, like you said, potentially put him on a bench, maybe come on with 10 minutes to go just to give him a run out, depending on maybe how the game plays out. You mentioned loanees. No, Clibo, not even, because we can't concede. We can't help but concede. It's like our New Year's resolution.
Yeah, but you're giving us too much credit. We've had 2-0 draws in our last two games. We can't score. So
Well,
I think your man's right there. It's got
well,
0-0 all over it.
it has, but Leicester will find a way. If anyone's going to find a way, we will find a way to give you a goal. It's just natural, Leicester. But hey, if it does, I'll take it. It might be the most predictable 0-0 in oppositions we've got with what you're saying. But there you go. I just want to quickly touch on two people there. One you haven't mentioned, but I'm going to bring them up first before we go on to Rowett, because obviously he's a foot in both camps. Another person who's a foot in both camps. It's not always easy. It can be a bit bittersweet when you have someone on loan and then they go back to the parent club and they dash any hope of you getting him back on loan or maybe even permanently because he goes about the plans. Ben Nelson.
Yep, loved him.
Gary Rowett claimed that he's got the capabilities to be Premier League standard, let alone Championship standard. First of all, I'm going to ask you, was that maybe a bit blowing smoke, a bit generous to him? I know you just said there instantly.
Well, no, he fitted in very, very well for us. We really liked him. Unfortunately, he got crocked and he returned to you to rehabilitate.
Yeah.
And I think that's what brought it to an end. He never came back. That's my take on what happened.
Yeah, were you maybe hoping that, depending on the manager that came in at Leicester, because obviously we weren't going to stick with Rude, that sometimes these players come back and a particular style of play, a particular manager just doesn't really fancy that player. He maybe chooses experience over youth, which, some managers just do that. Was there any talk around Oxford fans that maybe thought, please don't want him, Leicester, please? Because
no, we would have gladly had him back.
Yeah.
But I didn't perceive that was really ever on the books. I didn't hear talk about that.
Okay. So it wasn't even a slight glimmer of hope thrown your way that he could join you.
Not on my radar, but then bear in mind I live down in Poole in Dorset. I do have a season ticket and I do go to all the home games, but no, it's not something that I was aware of.
It's one then that my next question in regards to Ben Nelson for you is, again, I know it's a bit bittersweet because obviously you did really well with him. He's growing into the side at Leicester, become a regular now. He's either, obviously, Woutface has gone out on loan. People will say that's a big blessing, but he's pushed other people aside to nail down that centre-back pairing, whether it's been with a Coley or Vestergaard. Is it one of them where, obviously, maybe not so much Saturday, but do you still, as fans with such fond memories of his loan spell, maybe keep an eye on him and go, oh, I'm glad he's doing well? I don't really care if Leicester do well, but as long as he's playing well, or is it just one of them where, oh, well, that was one of them. We had him for 7 months and do what he wants.
I think in all the years that I've been watching football, I just have a perception that when a former player comes back, he haunts you. Even if he actually absolutely stank when he played for you, he has a worldly when he plays against you.
Yeah.
So that always does worry me. I mean, we've got a pretty good defence now. I mean, like we've replaced and restructured and moved on. I like what we've got at the back, and Bloomfield has got those 2 clean sheets in the last 2 games.
Yeah, which is a platform that you need going into the running. I mean, you do look at the fixtures that teams in and around you have got, and you don't want to rest on a laurel as it is. Obviously Portsmouth, that big major South Coast derby. Norwich's upturn with form is probably not the easiest reading to see every week. But you've got Blackburn are struggling. They had another beating in the midweek games. I mean, like you said, you win on Saturday, which could be a given with Leicester at the moment. It won't get you out of the relegation, but is there any little niggles, that little oh God, if this is still the case in 4 or 5 games, this could be us? Because
I actually, despite what we said before the show started, you and I before Christmas, when Rowett was still in charge, I started to feel that it was not going to be our season. The football was bad at that time. I don't think it was right to sack him when they hadn't got a replacement lined up. That seemed crazy. And we were rudderless for a few games. Craig Short came in, and actually we beat Southampton straight away. And you thought, well, blimey, we wouldn't have done that if Rowett was in charge. But then the next game out, we play Swansea, which on paper is an easier game. And we lost at home to Swansea, having just a few days before beaten Southampton. And then it was away in the FA Cup, MK Dons, we went a goal down, we equalised, and it went to a penalty shootout. So we went through on penalties. And then 2 0-0 draws with Matt Bloomfield in charge. So I didn't feel we should have got rid of Rowett, particularly without having someone already lined up. I would have gone through the Christmas games with Rowett if they had not gone as well as we had hoped, or they'd gone like they ended up going anyway with the Swansea result, etc. It would have been more reason to have fired Gary Rowett at the time. Will it be right? Who knows? Only time will tell. But under Rowett, it was a bit strange when we played the tougher teams, and I put, regardless of league position, when Leicester came to our place, you might recall we talked about it, and Chris tried to get me on the show then. I was away on business in Mexico. I was shocked that we got a draw against you. We had got a draw at home against Coventry. We'd had some results against the top teams, and then the teams down near the bottom that we needed to beat, the 6-pointers, the classic 6-pointers, we were losing those. And that's been our first half of the season. I don't know if Bloomfield's going to change that. Maybe we'll lose to the top teams, but pick up the important points we need in the 6-pointers. But let's see. There is a case to say, well, we've had 2 draws. If we've now shored things up at the back and can start scoring, this new guy coming in, I'll give you his name in case he plays on Saturday, Jinwoo Jeon from Korea. 20 goals in the Korean League. If he comes in and starts scoring goals or assisting for us, we get Lancashire scoring goals, and we turn the season around. I think there's hope. If we can get a result on Saturday, and I really don't think we will, being old enough and long in the tooth, but if we can get a result on Saturday, that confidence is going to completely turn around. Unbeaten under Matt Bloomfield, not letting goals in, and then turning draws into wins. It's a big if.
Yeah, it's a big if, and it's a big if for Leicester, because for about 4,653 times, it feels like this season, we've put a few results together. You know, we've drawn 1, 2, maybe drawn, had a win in the cup, and then we go and lose 2 on the bounce, or we go and win 1 in 9 like we had earlier in the season. So I know obviously on paper we're in a better position league wise and points wise, but if anyone's probably got more confidence that after 2 decent results they've got a chance to push on, if you ask us Leicester fans, and there's a few of us in the comment section who's more likely to take their form into and propel on from this game, would probably say Oxford, even if it was a 3rd draw, whether that's 1-1 or another clean sheet draw for you guys. I know, obviously, because you feel like eventually goals can click. We're 1 in 22. Like Clivo said there, it's a 1 in. We've had 1 clean sheet in 22. Ironically, against Coventry earlier in the season, we got that, but that was before Coventry was so impervious. Obviously, that probably the only reason we got it. He also then goes on to say about it was absolutely shocking with with us not starting Ben Nelson, given the rave reviews of Gary Rowett. I mean, you mentioned there how well Bloomfield's done to steady the ship and get things going and allowed to actually make transfers. God knows what that feels like. but I'm glad your owners allow you to actually make transfers.
Yeah, I'm not sure he's doing it.
Well,
These days at football clubs, is it the manager that actually selects the player and brings them in? But regardless, it has happened.
Yeah, I mean, just going to ask you quickly. I just want to say quickly hello to Scott. He says, evening all in the chat. And is Alicia Lehman starting for us against Oxford? She could only do no worse than Daka, mate. I'd be all for it. The 27-year-old signing for the women's side. See, our women's team, I know the budget's different and it's all well, but they've made about 7 signings. They've actually brought a player back who started off a youth career, and Alicia Lehman, well, if you know Jens, you know Jens Lehmann, you know exactly who she is related to, or the daughter of, should I say. I mean, the atmosphere is not great at the King Power, and if you've got any hope, if you can break your goalless drought of 2 games in the first 15 minutes, we'll crumble like apple pie. You talked about the Christmas period and maybe Rowett should have been given the time. Where did that seem to come out of? Was that a bit out of the blue? Because obviously, being a Leicester fan, we only see Oxford, and like I said to you, we look at you and kind of go, well, that's a bit harsh. It seems you know where you're not a million miles off safety. You're not, you were never really, unless something drastic happened in the transfers, going to push up to like top half and playoff. So was it a bit good? Because he seems to have a good record in this division. He had Birmingham up there, and look what happened to them when they got rid of him.
He has an awful lot of experience in the Championship, and we were glad when he was brought in to do a job to keep us up last season, which he successfully did. This season, the fan base was split, and there was discontent with the style of football from some.
Yeah,
Rowett ball, Rowett football, not interesting, not exciting. From my point of view, it was more important about the results, but neither were we necessarily playing well nor getting the results. I hadn't turned on Rowett. For me, it wasn't time for him to go. And like I say, I felt he should have been given a transfer window and that opportunity. It was, to me, a surprise, the timing, and particularly the fact that there wasn't someone ready to step right in. Why sack the guy? If you've then got to start the process of interviewing, and all kinds of names got banded around, like, please not Wayne Rooney.
No, you don't want to. Is this, and I'm going to throw this out, and you can throw cold water on it if you don't really want to get drawn into that one, I understand. But would you say this era of football, the modern era, if you will, and football's progressed over time, it's changed. Have we entered an era where patience is so thin between fans that, like you say, had you got better results, and I'm not talking major transformation, I'm talking maybe a point here, a win against Swansea instead of losing that game, that Rowett still keeps his job? Or do you think that because 92 teams in the league don't play exciting, fast-paced football all the time, that sometimes owners go, well, fans aren't happy. I know we're doing okay, but because the style of football is not up to the impatient demand of, I will call it, we're in the console era. And what I mean by that is you get people that are young fans now grow up playing FIFA or Football Manager, where they go click, 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 and the game's running 4 minutes, and they're playing a game where it's end to end, and them and the mates are having 20 shots each, and it's 4-4, and they think that's how easy it should be on the pitch to do. Is that really dragging the game down a little bit in its own thing? And that's why maybe Rowett 5 years ago would have easily got this window to bring in his own players, get you back on form and maybe sort it out? Or are we in this era now, this generation of fans, where owners feel the pressure so much through social medias and tweets that he had no chance of surviving because, like you said, the results weren't helping the Rowett ball as it is?
Social media has definitely changed the terrace culture. I predate the internet.
It's all about that, isn't it? Now you don't watch it when you go to it. You pay £40 to watch it through your phone. I know there's a lot of good people that do Leicester channels and Oxford channels that probably do that. I'm only saying that a little bit in jest, but it's just to make a point. I'm not insulting anybody.
Well, if we go back far enough, we turned up on a Saturday, so that was your chance to talk about football on the day at the game. Latterly, fanzines came out. You could write something and get something in the fanzine. Then forums came out, and now the whole social media. Fans are very quick to claim the club has no ambition. You know, the fans demand that we bring in the best players and pay the best wages. But where does that money come from? You know, the fans aren't prepared to back it, but they expect the millionaire owners to just keep digging and keep digging deep. But I think our owners have done incredibly well. You know, we are in the Championship. We will be till the end of the season. And if Bloomfield can string some results together, then we might have another season in the Championship. And that's all we ask for.
Yeah, and again, there's nothing wrong with building a platform for 4 or 5 years maybe before that acceleration goes. And it's something I grew up on. I'm in my 30s now, and it's something I grew up on where, you know, we used to celebrate. And I know people say, yeah, Brad, but when you grew up Leicester in the Premier League, yeah, we got called boring Leicester because we draw teams out. We wouldn't play this fancy va-va-voom, football as Henry and that used to play. You know, but we would grind out results, we would work hard, and we would win games. And guess what? You know, throughout the mid to late 90s, Wembley was our second home, and we were top 10 finishers in the Premier League. Give me that every day of the week. You know, a good cup run here and there and a few finals. I'm more than happy to finish 10th in the division and then make that step up, which obviously we kind of did in a weird sort of way. We could, but sometimes you got to build on it. Having said that, your new manager's in now, whether it was the right call or not, I don't think you can really fairly judge him off 6 months' work, regardless of if you stay up or do go down to League One. How has he changed things? Obviously, initially he's got the 2 clean sheets now, and since he's had a chance to ferment himself in and bring in players. What's the difference, and what can between him and Rowett's football, and what can Leicester expect Oxford to do compared to the first game, or has much really changed to how you played against us at your place?
No, I can't really put a finger on it and say what I've seen change, because in the first game that he took charge of, I think he pretty much played a Gary Rowett side.
Yeah.
Apart from let me have a look. How did he line up? So that was Bristol City. He brought in the 2 new players. One is Yunus Konak, who's on loan from Brentford, but he took him off at half time. I think that's quite bold. You know, most managers will make a change at 60 minutes, 70 minutes. But 45 minutes, we had a couple of managers back who would do that. And it seemed quite novel that he had seen enough in the first half and was bold enough to say, I'm making a change. It could be argued that Konak perhaps wasn't fit enough, struggled to do the 90 minutes. I'm not too sure, but he brought Will Vaulks in, who was a stalwart under Gary Rowett. Will Vaulks with the long throw. And then the second game, he started Will Vaulks. He decided to stick with the team that saw out the second half. One of the other new players that he brought in is the second player from Brentford, Miles Pert Harris, and he was subbed about 70 minutes into the first game. But started the second game and then subbed on 90 minutes. So it looks like he's probably going to start on Saturday. Pacey midfielder. I like him. I like what I see.
Oh,
yeah. We've got another winger who's been actually he's also lucked out with the return of Brannigan. He is a stalwart in our side.
Yeah.
He picked up a knock earlier in the season, and we really did miss him. And he came back in, I think, for the FA Cup game against MK Dons, and then he's been in these 2 home games that Bloomfield's had. He's made a big difference to us. So just having Cam back, but I think, Rowett having Cam back, it would have made a difference. We can't say that's down to Bloomfield. As soon as Cam Brannigan's back, he's picking himself. So yeah.
Yeah, and sometimes you do have players like that, don't you? It's not necessarily that the other ones aren't so good, but you do see a drop in tempo maybe, or that creative spark goes just a little bit.
Yep.
Leicester fans will tell you, and I'd be surprised if anyone in the chat disagrees with me, it's Jordan James. I mean, my heart sank when he went off against Wrexham. The only good thing about that, he walked off. He walked around the byline of the pitch as well. No limping, no struggle. So whatever it is, we're hoping it's just a tweak, something made him feel a bit uneasy, and we took him off for caution and trying to keep him on because he got it early in the game and he managed about half an hour. But when he's off the pitch, we are dropped. We're more drossed than usual. Let's put it that way. So I'd see where you're coming from. We talk about a player like that. Scott just asked quickly here. He says, "Do you see a Coley/Vestergaard and Nelson starting again? Will we actually change formation?" I can answer the last part easily. No, we should. We really should, because I don't trust our left back. So we should play 3 at the back, not 4 at the back. But we won't, Scott, sadly. And I can see it being a Coley and Nelson, because I think Vestergaard's now at that point where even Marty goes, I need you to come on the bench and try and shore out a win if we're, 1-0 up or, holding on 2-1 or something. That's the sort of defender you're putting on to sit deep and not press a high line, which at about 33 years or 34 years of age, or whatever, it's shocking to think he's younger than me when he looks about 35 for 10 years. That's what Vestergaard's going to do. Speaking of formations, because ours won't change. Ours will be a 4-2-1-3 or whatever. It's so bad, I can't even remember the numbers of what order they're going. But it will be the same. We'll have a back line. We'll have two pivot number 8s or whatever you want to call that role, or whatever it is, number 6s, whatever. We'll play a fat midfield 3, and then we'll have bloody RU up front because he loves RU for some reason. What formation and style of player Ox are going to bring to the play?
So we like playing with the wings, and often we'll play them as wing backs, so we can go to 3 at the back. And Rowett did seem to vary that around depending on the opposition. Too early to judge whether Bloomfield's got that kind of in-depth knowledge as well. So it could be 3 at the back with wing backs. And usually we got, obviously Brannigan in the midfield. Sitting in behind him could be Will Volks, sitting in front of the defence. And then it could be 1 up front, it could be 2. Lancashire seems to be the main name on up front, and they could be joined by Mark Harris or one of a number. It could be the new boy coming on, the Korean. I thought actually it might be worth having a word about penalties. You might not be aware that Oxford went all last season without winning a penalty.
Wow, that is...
Hold on, we're not finished. We've gone all of this season so far without conceding a penalty. Now, what are the odds for Ben Nelson to concede a penalty?
Wow.
I say we've not achieved a penalty. It's not a case of not scoring it. We've not had a damn penalty.
Not had them.
Apart from the FA Cup game where 4 came in a row and we scored all 4. And Cam Brannigan is our main penalty taker. And also a lesser known fact, he scored 4 penalties in one game against Gillingham a couple of seasons back. So what are the chances of a penalty on Saturday and a 1-0 win?
If Luke Thomas is on the pitch, 50-50. But with Ben Nelson, I can't see him giving away a penalty. It's there, though. We do. Yeah, Chowdhury's probably a good one. He likes to go in rush of blood. But it is a weekend game. And you know, they used to say that Dennis Bergkamp can't do European nights away because he had a fear of flying. Well, Ricardo Pereira has a fear of midweek games because he never plays a midweek game. He comes off the bench, so he proves he can actually play 2 games in a week, but he doesn't play midweek, so we save him for the weekend game. So he'll probably be at right back instead of Chowdhury, which might be one of the few changes we see on Saturday. So there's always a chance. I don't think it'd be Ben Nelson. I've probably put the mockers on it now. In 4 minutes in, you'll get a penalty. It'd be Ben Nelson getting a red card or something like that.
I've seen a few good shouts this season, and I've been convinced, well, that's a penalty. But we've kind of got the attitude now, well, referee's not going to give it. We're not going to get a penalty. And there's a little bit of a joke going around where if we do get a penalty, we'll probably miss it, won't we? Because we've forgotten how to take them. FA Cup, it didn't look like that because we scored all 4. And we went through comfortably because they missed 2.
Maybe the manager's got them practicing it for the day that it comes to an end and they can all take it. You probably have your goalkeeper scoring one at this rate. Must be. I mean, it's a very unique stat. That must be on for some kind of record.
I believe it is a record. The problem is it's not the kind of record that gets kept, is it?
It's not a record that you put in your trophy cabinet or on your website, is it? No, it's not.
It's not anything we can do about. It's not like we've succeeded in achieving that record. But I think someone said it was 70 games, and we're beyond that now.
Wow.
So, hey, obviously that's league games.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest with you, it would be typical us. You know, they're finally on for a clean sheet. You guys have decided to take the point. It's 0-0. You come into the box the last few minutes, and Luke Thomas trips one of your players up, and you score the winning goal. It would be typical Leicester to give you your first penalty in 17 plus games. I'm hoping it doesn't. In fact, I would like to place a blessing on that now that Ben Nelson wins a penalty for Leicester down the other end, and it kind of goes full circle on you a little bit. But
yeah, I don't know how many we've conceded in that time, but yeah, there have been penalties against us and they have been scored. So it's just us who don't deserve a penalty.
I mean, I'm trying to think that I think we've conceded. I know Stolarczyk saved a penalty, but then the rebound was put in. We may have saved 2 penalties. Somebody, if they know off the top of their heads, or they love a bit of Google deep diving, see how many penalties Leicester have had and conceded this season, because the only penalty that I know we've had that stands out is the QPR game, and that was about as much use to us as a chocolate teapot in the Sahara Desert, because we were 4-0 down, and even then we missed it, and our youngster Silko Thomas had to put the rebound in. It'd be very interesting because obviously Alan Vardy, his era, we were winning penalties. It felt like every week. So maybe our comeuppance, maybe we've bled the penalty bank dry on that one. Right. Well, there's one thing we know for certain: death taxes and no penalties on Saturday. That's exactly what's happening.
And maybe a 0-0 draw.
And maybe a 0-0
we'll
draw.
Celebrate a clean sheet.
I'm going to ask you though. You say maybe a 0-0 draw. Are you backing a 0-0 draw for Saturday? What is your score prediction?
I suspect you'll beat us 1-0.
The fact that you've got us not conceding just makes me worried that
Yeah, because we're not scoring.
Well, it might be our only hope that you don't score. Scott says 2 penalties conceded this season. Thanks, Scott. Did Stolarczyk save one and then the other one go in? Let me if you got time to know that, Scott. Let me know. Craig's gone 2-1 Foxes. I did a prediction show at 7:00, and if you guys haven't gone and checked that out after this, go and put it on. Me and Josh made our predictions for the weekend's fixtures, and I'm going to stick with that. You say you don't score goals, and I say that Leicester are good at giving goals away. We don't keep clean sheets, and you don't concede goals, so something's going to give, I reckon, at both ends, and that's why I've gone 1-1. That's how I have gone for it. And if he's fit to play, our danger man will obviously be Jordan James. If he's not, you haven't got anyone to worry about. Ben Nelson from the corner, maybe, if we put something in. That's the only one I go for because you've got a recognition with him. But honestly, unless your goalkeeper's going to stand on the edge of the box and Fatwood's going to shoot from halfway line, we haven't really got any other threat than James Jordan. And that's so bad to say because he's not even our player. He's on loan. You mentioned a few players. Is there an outright player that you look at and go, if he's picked for Saturday and on his game, Leicester fans need to watch out for him. They need to keep an eye on him because he's the one that we're not putting our eggs on him to play well and do well to win us the game, but he's the one that could cause the most trouble for Leicester on Saturday.
Yeah, I'd like to think it might be Stanley Mills, who plays on the wing, is son of Danny Mills. We had him on loan originally from Everton, and then they released him. We took him on. Pacey. He does get the ball in. He has scored a couple himself from distance. Not ugly tap-ins. They're usually 30-odd yard screamers. So Stanley Mills, watch out for him.
Stanley Mills, there you go. Part of the Danny Mills. So one to really look out for. Look, Mark, it's been a pleasure having you on. Scott said had one against Millwall. So there you are. We've conceded 2 and had one against Millwall.
I would take you 1-1. I would gladly take you 1-1, and even more delighted if that's a penalty from Cameron Brannigan.
I tell you what, you have a penalty, we have a penalty. We'll just penalties for everybody, and then we'll have 1-1 draw. We'll get a penalty, every penalty, and that'd be a great way. Mark, it's been a pleasure having you on, and it's been lovely chatting to you. Just let everybody know where they can find you, and no doubt listen to you chirping about 3 wonderful points on Saturday.
Cheers. Thanks very much. All the best.
Oh, I was going to say, give a shout out to your social where people can find you, or do you not?
I used to do Twitter when I was with.
Oh, there you go. Then see,
I don't these days because I ran the official one for the football club. That and the Facebook. So I'm just.
So I look a right Wally now because normally we have a guest who's doing the same as what we do, and they have this channel. I give you the floor. You're like, thanks very much. I was like, oh.
No, I'm just a Facebook user. That's it for me.
Oh wow, I think some of us wish we were just that as well these days with how it's going. Mark, thanks very much for coming on. It's been a pleasure. Normally I'd say the line, I don't wish luck on Saturday, but good luck for the rest of the season. You know what? If you beat us, you beat us. You get a point, you get a point. Well done you. And good luck for the rest of your season. And I do hope you stay up because I've liked Oxford. We are the traditional Leicester fans. We love an underdog story. So I hope you stay up, Mark. And thanks again for coming on.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. All the best.
All right. Cheers, Mark. Bye. Right. That was Mark. Oh, I cut him off saying bye then. I hope you heard him. I wasn't being rude. He's a lovely chap, wasn't he, Mark? It's been a good show, hasn't it, ladies and gentlemen? A lovely Oxford fan there coming on and, made us feel a bit more optimistic about Leicester. Until it kicks off and then we remember the team's going to be the same and Marty's still in charge. But until then, we've been given some optimism that we might actually get a clean sheet. Yeah, we're probably not going to, are we? Anyway, guys, thank you very much for joining me for the preview show. It's been a pleasure. Thank you to all of you that have come in and watched and enjoyed the show. And if you've not already seen it already, we did do a preview prediction show at 7 o'clock. That is the time. Of course, if you are new, or maybe even if you're subscribed, just double check that you've hit the subscribe button, all of you, and also make sure that you have the notification bell turned on. And make sure it's set to all, because YouTube for some reason sets it to personalized, so it doesn't always tell you when we're going live. So you don't want to get here and be wondering what time did he say the stream started, because I haven't got a notification on my phone. I haven't got a thing going live. Game's kicked off. Why they're not doing a watch long? Which Chris, or maybe it's Tom, who knows? Who's more present, Top or Chris? I jest. I say it in jest. Chris is obviously ill at the moment. Hopefully he'll be back for Saturday. But if not, it will be Tom, and it will be I believe, 2:30 start for Tom. But if you're subscribed and you've turned notifications on and you've hit that bell to all, you will get notified for that show going live Saturday. Oh, can a decent Leicester actually please turn up? Am I asking too much? I probably am with Marty in charge, aren't I? Let's hope, unlike our owners, the players actually turn up at the weekend. Until then, if I don't see you then, I'll see you in a little while. And as always, come on, you foxes. Good night, everybody.
Thanks for watching. These videos are tremendous. You better like them too, or I'll be back.
This podcast is proud to be part of the TalkSport Fan Network.
TalkSport. Powered by fans.
That will conclude this evening's entertainment.